Hello and welcome to Cusco, Peru. That's the old town center that we're looking at right there. And I happen to be filming at the same time some kind of Indian wedding shoot is going on. What are the chances, eh? So yes, I'm Richard Arthur here in Cusco, Peru. This little place we've started is called Mirador San Blas in St. Blas area. It's actually the first time I've been here, but it's got a nice view and means I'm going to go down and I'm not going to go up again because we are indeed over 3,000 meters high. So if you go up, you're going to get out of breath pretty quickly. So let's go down these stairs and we'll head into the center of the old town. What is Cusco? Cusco is a city in Peru, fairly large. Bear in mind that there is a modern city, but this view that we can see before me is the old historical center. It is also where all the kind of shops are as well. But elsewhere in the valley that the city is located on, around the airport, which is also there, there is a more modern city. So bear that in mind. And of course, Cusco is famous as being the capital of the Incan civilization, the birthplace of the Incan civilization, which grew up around 1100s, 1200s, and by the time the Spanish arrived in the early 1500s was the largest empire in South America at that time, maybe even the world. But for various reasons the Spanish were able to conquer it, and the rest, as they say, is history. Right, as you can see, this is San Blas area. It's got all these beautiful alleyways. This might be my favourite part of town, in fact, from what I've seen. Being higher up, you get the nice views, no cars. As you can see, however, it is an extremely popular place for tourists. We'll see a lot more of that later. I'm trying to find the Plaza San Blas. I think it's down here. That's why I just tourists, alleyways. As for myself, let's film this first. Here we have Llamas working hard with the Cholitas, ladies of Peru. Another beautiful view over the city here in Plaza San Blas. I think at night time this area is quite lively, a bit more of an alternative scene. Let's carry on going down. As for myself, I got here nearly 3 weeks ago. I was here for about a week in a room editing old Bolivian videos still. And then I joined a trekking group, the Salcante Trek, which was 4 nights walking up to Huaymante Lake and Salcante Mountain, the base of it, not the top. And at the end we trekked our way to Agua Calientes and did Machu Picchu and all that. So clearly that will be possibly 1, possibly 2 separate videos, so watch out for those coming soon. And then I've been back here for another week, still editing videos. So as a result of way too much editing from Bolivia, I've decided to attempt a one-take video here in Cusco. Having been here for a little while now, I might have a better idea about what to say than when I just arrived. There's Plaza San Blas again, church. Again, this area is quite lively at night, so check it out if you're ever here. I'm going to go over these fences and head up this way. I think down one. Another reason I'm doing it today is because it's actually a beautiful sunny day. It's currently middle of October, so it does rain a little bit, and has been raining since September, October kind of time. But not too much. There have been a few cloudy days, but right now it's nice and bright. As we head down the hill. So as you can see, and you'll see even more soon, Cusco is possibly, certainly the center of Peruvian international tourism. Possibly, I don't know, must be one of the most popular cities in the whole of South America to visit. It's just going to get busier and busier as we head into town now. Okay, I know this little junction here. Had dinner up there last night, a nice little restaurant up the stairs. From here you can head south, that heads back into the kind of modern town. Goes through the main plaza. We're going to head up here first though. I'm staying up further up this street. I think this used to be the capital of the Incan Empire. They built the city here. And I think this road is one of the limits of what was once the Cusco Incan capital. They spell it with a Q, by the way. If I see it written somewhere, I'll show you. Cusco, it looks like. And this leads up to Sacsayhuaman, where I was yesterday. We'll see that later. Should probably get out the road. But yeah, I think from the 6 minutes we've had already, you will have to agree with me that this is undoubtedly a very, very beautiful city. Maybe the most beautiful historic city in the continent. When you first arrive here and start wandering around, you'll get absolutely lost, as I did. Okay, let's head up this way. This nice little alleyway between the church. I'm normally pretty good with directions, but Cusco completely dumbfounded me in my first week. Very easy to get lost, even when you're trying to follow on your map on your phone. They don't follow a strict grid pattern like they do in most other Spanish colonial towns. So it's kind of most fun you can really have here is just wandering around, getting completely lost in all these alleyways and streets and courtyards. So I definitely recommend that. After about a week, I just about kind of sussed it all out somewhat. However, there are still plenty of surprises to be had, I'm sure. So let's get my phone out to tell you where we are. This is Plaza You can see how out of breath I am just from walking up that small hill. It doesn't seem to have a name on here. Anyway, it's a plaza. This is probably the most high-end part of the city. Museo de Arte Precolombino is there. I think the Inca Museum is here somewhere, which I will probably visit this afternoon. It's quite high-end restaurants in this particular area. This is, I guess, on the edge of San Blas, just to the east of the main plaza. Plaza Mayor, so Plaza de Armas, where we're going now. Proper 5-star hotels here. Let's carry on through here. So yes, we are heading to the main plaza, Plaza de Armas. Let's just run over here. I know from this street you get a little overview of the place. Let's see how long it takes me to do my little tour of Cusco in one take. I was going to walk around all my favourite little alleyways and make a nice montage, but I've got so tired of editing. It's taking so much time to edit these old videos that I really need to speed up the process. So let's see if a one-take video does that. I'm also using the microphone, which I don't normally use. Hopefully my voice will come out better. The auto-translate will do its job better and speed up the whole process. So, we are now approaching the main plaza. And quite the plaza it is. Down these cobbled steps. So yeah, this was also, I assume, the original center of the Incan Cusco. When the Spanish came here, they destroyed much of what was here, but I think they kept the main city layout and some of these walls, which we'll talk about later, and superimposed their own civilization on top of what was here before, which as the Incans also did to some of those that fell at their feet when they expanded the Incan Empire. Anyway, let's talk about that later. This is Plaza de Armas, and what a plaza it is. This is the main cathedral up here to the left. Another church over there. I haven't been in them. The Peruvian plazas, I noticed, tend to have less trees than other plazas, which makes their architecture shine even more. And this is my favourite little spot here in front of the KFC, not because of KFC, but because it's got some steps. So you can look out over the plaza, beautiful views of the edge of town behind. So yeah, this is it. This is pretty much the centre of Cusco, by extension the centre of tourism in Peru. I forgot to mention Machu Picchu. That is of course pretty close to here. So this is the main vantage point to get there for most people. The closest town you'll probably be staying the night before and or after is called Aguascalientes. That will be a separate video. But yeah, this is it. Beautiful Plaza de Armas. And yeah, let's talk about tourism. I will say that Peru does tourism very, very well. By that I mean they're very tuned into the industry. They're fantastic at providing all these amenities for everybody. These restaurants, you'll see in a moment, tons and tons of stalls. Massage girls up there usually. Guys selling tours, treks, the touts all over the place. So when I say they're very, very good at tourism, it's true, but it is a bit of a double-edged sword because it can become a little bit annoying sometimes. But, you know, all credit to them for doing a good job of it. Having come here from Bolivia, where I was before, although it's geographically and culturally quite similar to here in the Andes, their approach to tourism is somewhat different. Let's cross the road. In Bolivia it's all a bit more laid back. Nobody approaches you in the street. People are a bit more reserved and quiet until you get to know them. And they do have tours and everything, but it's just up to you to go and find them. Nobody's going to be approaching you in the street so much. So anyway, from Plaza de Armas, there are, if you get lost as you will do on your first week here, there are in fact kind of three main plazas in a row. Once you work that out, then you can get your bearings a bit easier. This is the next plaza to the west, whose name I don't actually know. Give me a moment and I'll have a look on my phone. Very beautiful it is too. This is called Plaza Regiosillo. Seems to be a market going on today, which I've never seen before. Sorry, just hit the stop button by accident. As you can see, I'm still here. It's take two. Here's the fountain. So, carry on. Yeah, as you can see, it is a stunningly beautiful city. See, the Incans did a great job creating it, and the Spanish did a good job building on top of it, and now the modern Peruvian state's done a great job of bringing the tourists of the world here. This is really the heart of the Peruvian Andes, vantage point to Machu Picchu and countless other Incan ruins in the area. Of course, I will be covering these in other videos. So yesterday I went to Sacsayhuaman and some other nearby ruins which are just to the north of the city centre there. You could see them in the background from Plaza de Armas. Still don't know much about them, I'm not sure anyone does, but I was told by our guide that they were water towers, providing water and water pressure for the town below. I'm sure there was a lot more to it than that though. They also said religious significance, royal significance. The Incan Empire was an empire led by emperors who are believed to be the sons of the Incan god Inti. Right, this is the other end of the plaza. More beautiful buildings. Another church, I presume. It's called Plazoleta Espinar up ahead, it says. And then we're going to carry on again to the third plaza up this street, which I'm quite fond of. After this point, it starts to get a little bit more local. I would call this mixed street. It's kind of half local vibe, half touristy. As you'll see, it will get more local as we carry on. A little bit cheaper up this end as we continue walking to the west. Yeah, this is Cusco de Armo end of restaurants here. Peru is famous with some cuisine. We respect the fact that they have their own national cuisine. This is a amalgamation of different ingredients, Spanish, Peruvian, indigenous, and even Chinese. There's a lot of Chinese English here. Probably take a look at that in another video, but yeah, you can get the most interesting food experiences in here. Elsewhere on the continent. Okay, this is the third plaza on my itinerary. A bit more of a local feel. No, can't cross yet. This is called Plaza San Francisco, of course. Everyone's favourite San Francisco. How are you going? Nope, I'm already here. So yeah, if you get those three plazas in a row in your mind, then makes it less likely to get lost. Although getting lost here is kind of half the fun. And we're going to continue. There is in fact a fourth place on my little itinerary that I planned out for this walk. Through these gates up ahead. Again, it's a fantastic preservation job they've done here. I do respect the fact in Peru that they've done a good job of kind of mixing the old and the new. They've preserved the old buildings and restored them, and yet they're still functional and providing all the amenities that the modern tourist world needs. Although one little criticism is maybe being in these old buildings, accommodation, there's a lot of it, but it's all going to be on the older side of things. I just stayed in Airbnb for a few days and they've done a good job of refurbing that. But some of the other places I've stayed in are a bit more ad hoc, you could say. They have a certain charm though, going up the rooftops. It's these little rooms that they've made. I have been moving around every few days just to try out some different areas. I was also staying up here. It's definitely more local as you get up here. I was staying in a windowless room, which was less fun, especially if you're working all afternoon. But we are heading to the fourth, in fact, little plaza on my itinerary, but it's more famous for the market, which we will see in a moment, called San Pedro. And I'm not really I'm not really a market kind of guy, but this is actually one of the better ones I've seen. I've done a good job opening it up to kind of tourists while also being used by the locals as well. So we'll walk through and have a little feel for that. Here we are. You can see the Viva Peru sign etched into the hill on the southern side of the valley of Cusco over there. Let's go right through the middle. Oops. This is where the tourists and the locals meet. It's very dark on my camera. But of course, everywhere you go, there's all this tourist stuff for sale. I was on a tour yesterday to Sacsayhuaman, and our tour guide said that 60% of it is made in China. I'm not sure if it's true or not, but pretty incredible if it is. Make it in China, then send it over here to sell it. But yeah, you can also buy the authentic stuff. How are you going to know the difference? I'm not too sure myself. Oops, anyway, back to the market. It's chocolate, coffee, booze. Pisco, of course, is the famous local drink. Bedrock of the Pisco Sour cocktail. Lots of magic ingredients. Can't see any mummified baby llamas like you get in the witches market in Bolivia. Cheese. And then if you come to the southern end, down here, there are a bunch of local restaurants. I had a lunch here yesterday for the first time, and it's cheap and good quality, and you get absolutely huge portions. Puerto San Pedro Cevicheria. Kind of reminds me of Asia, these little indoor street markets you get there sometimes. So definitely have a lunch here one day when you're in town. All your Peruvian favourites and more. Let's run down here. There you go. It's going quicker than I thought it would. Right, we're going to continue though. I haven't finished. Now, if you head south from there, you get into the more local part of the city centre, to the south of San Pedro Market. So if you want to escape the throngs of tourists without walking very far, then this is a good place to do it. Perhaps you can pick up some bargains as well, away from the madding crowds in the main plazas. And I'm going to try to work my way back to the kind of entrance to the old town. Let's go left, otherwise I'll get even more lost. And we'll make our way back. As I said earlier, the Centro Histórico, as it's called in Spanish, is not the entire city. It's just one kind of corner of the city on the northwest. The rest of the city is more modern, kind of built around the airport, which is in the bottom of the valley. But yes, this is on the edge of the historic centre here. This is where the locals come to get their market produce. But we're going to head to a road which connects the old town to the more modern areas, just to get your bearings. And we'll head to, perhaps we'll finish at the most sacred place in the city for the Incans, which I visited yesterday. Just have to bear with me a few more minutes as we work our way there. Let's go for that. If you want to save some money, as in Bolivia, they have these really cheap lunch and dinner deals in these local restaurants where you will usually get a soup in your menu del dia and a main course. And the cheapest ones go down as low as like 7 soles for 2 courses. That's probably recommended you aim for somewhere where at least 10 soles to get slightly higher quality. Of course, you can indulge in the more high-end cuisine of Peru in the city center. And there are international options as well, of course. Now the junction. The north is just where we were in the old town, the tourist area. But we're going to go one more block to get to the main road which connects the old town to the new. And is a good place to get your bearings, I think. Nice views up ahead of the edge of the town, and this road we're coming to has lots of banks on there and lots of currency exchanges. Of course, you need your money when you're here, but having said that, things are fairly cheap. Again, it depends if you want to go local or splurge on the more high-end places, but generally accommodation is pretty affordable compared to other parts of the world. Food you can eat super cheap, as we've just covered. But yeah, the tours, they can vary quite a bit in price, so watch out for that. I believe Multi-Red, this is one of the better banks for cheaper fees as well. Okay, this is the street I've been trying to get to all along. It's the Quechua name, Muchucha. So yeah, this connects the old town there. Once you've got that junction up there sorted out, you're in between Plaza de Armas to the right and the second plaza to the left, whose name I forget. If we head south, past the banks, this heads downhill to the more modern parts of town, which you probably don't need to go to as a tourist, but you could have a look at out of curiosity. This is Palacio de Justicia, probably somewhere to avoid. If we come up here, let's take a left. I quite like this street as well, where the old meets the new. And we're heading back into the kind of old Inca areas of Cusco. It's rather busy. Today is a Friday, it's about midday on a Friday, so pretty busy. Everyone getting stuff done before the end of the week. If you got that alleyway, that takes you back to Plaza de Armas. We're going to go down here. You can see these layers of buildings on top of each other over the years. So yeah, from what I can work out, when the Spanish did successfully take over the area, they destroyed much of the Incan culture and everything else they came across, including all religious edifices, mummies, palaces, stealing all the gold they could find, melting it down. But I believe things that were more difficult to remove, or perhaps useful not to remove, were the walls, the foundations of the buildings. So a lot of these have been retained, and then they built some of their Spanish and Catholic church buildings on top of these remaining walls. I can't speak for every wall in town, but that does appear to be the case in many cases. Most famously in this building up ahead, whose name is very hard to pronounce. Give me a moment. So, I believe Kiri Cancha. This was the most sacred temple in the whole of the Incan Empire. Some of the original walls remain. I believe the one right in front of us there is possibly an original Incan wall. You can tell by the way it slopes inwards, and there's no cement used between the bricks. But of course the Spanish came along and built their own church on top and around it, which you can see here. I think this was once a monastery. But yes, this was the most sacred temple in the whole of the Incan world. Little garden down there, and it also marks the boundary of the original Incan city. Actually, let's go down here. I went inside yesterday and took some videos, so I'm not sure I'll either edit them in after this or make a separate video. I haven't decided yet. But this seems like a good place to end the video. Here we can see the edge of the city and what was once the original gardens where the Incans did their agriculture, and you can see these original city walls here at the most sacred temple to the Incans. They nicknamed this temple the Navel of the World. This was considered to be the center of their world, certainly, and maybe all of our worlds. And I also found out recently that the name the Andes, or Andino in Spanish, comes from the Quechua word for terraces. These terraces which they're famous for and built all up and down the mountains. It's one of the key reasons to their success was their excellence in the fields of both architecture and agriculture, as well as their military might. Gave them the ability to take over most of the Andean region in a very short space of time. Anyway, it's a topic for another day. So for now, I hope you've enjoyed this tour of Cusco in one, supposed to be one take, but ended up being two when I hit the button accidentally. Please like, subscribe and all that, and enjoy these final views of Cusco. Please click and check out my other videos of Peru coming soon.